There's a number of different neurodegenerative diseases, and they're not very well understood, not completely understood by any means. Especially Alzheimer's is probably the least understood. So it seems from what's out there in terms of the state of the art of the science of neurodegenerative diseases, certainly an unhealthy lifestyle is the biggest contributing factor to these diseases. And there's obviously there's also a genetic component to it, a hereditary component to it. There are some mutations, that people can have that really increase the chances of getting the disease. But the mechanisms behind these diseases, especially Alzheimer's, isn't really well understood. There's certainly a big inflammatory component to it. So when you have chronic inflammation throughout your whole body, which can happen from having a really bad diet, per se, let's say you have really elevated blood sugar levels your whole life, like literally your whole life you have high blood sugar. That means your body is working overtime to produce insulin. Eventually your body becomes resistant to that insulin, and the whole system gets really screwed up. And your body stops being able to react to this chronic inflammation. So you'll have brain inflammation as well. And when you have brain inflammation, you have all these regulatory networks are really thrown off kilter, and your body is constantly trying to balance something that's out of balance. And it's not like you're changing your diet or you're changing the way you live, so you're not even giving your body a chance to actually correct those imbalances. So eventually, and that's why these are diseases of aging, so eventually your body won't be able to keep up. And you really start to see that in your 40s, 50s. If you're really overweight and unhealthy, your body will start to break down. You'll start to get these chronic diseases of aging. So if you have lived for decades in a very unhealthy way, it's going to be extremely difficult to counter that. So to treat a disease like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or just general dementia is going to be incredibly difficult when you're at the end of your life, when you're in the twilight of your life.
When you diagnose it, so the huge problem in terms of pharmaceutical intervention, in terms of developing drugs to treat Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative disease in general, is that it's generally felt that by the time you see the manifestation of the disease, it may be too late, or it's generally felt that you would want to get it very early. It's like vascular disease, coronary artery disease. By the time you have a heart attack, you're already in real trouble, right? So
a great analogy is when you have a car, and let's say in your car you don't change your oil, right? You don't ever change the oil in your car. And so, if you do that for a couple of years and then you start changing the oil, your engine is going to be, well, you'll be a lot better than, let's say, if you went the whole time. Then all of a sudden your engine blows up and you go to the mechanic and you go, well, you can fix this, right? And obviously the mechanic, is going to have a lot harder time, as opposed to if you changed your oil regularly, then you probably wouldn't even need the mechanic. Eating healthy, exercising regularly is like changing the oil in your car. And taking me sports is like changing the oil in your car. What it does is it balances these signaling networks, these metabolic networks that regulate inflammation, that regulate brain health, that regulate just overall general body health. And so by taking me sports and by eating a healthy diet and by exercising regularly, you're maintaining the vehicle of your body.